cares, but it is important.
Can I get your names and your titles just so I can write them down?
Oh yeah, so we're all circuit judges. And this is Sonny Day Kavanaugh.
I want to introduce myself, Bradford.
Okay.
What do you mean you want to introduce yourself?
Because he's telling all our names for us. I want to tell my own name.
Oh.
Okay.
I have a voice.
Then say your name.
I am Circuit Judge Clarkson. That's it. That's the one announced just like that.
Okay, Circuit
Oh
Judge
my
Clarkson.
Yeah, no first name, just that.
And yourself, sir?
I'm Brantford Winstonworth. Oh, it's not. There we go. That's better.
You're also
it's an outdated badge, but outdated badge, but it is my name.
Sir?
It is my name.
There you go.
Yes, I have the new one too. I just use the old one for funsies.
I think I have the old one
Willow,
too. Still.
Willow, you've got spiders crawling up your legs, Willow.
Again?
Let's know that they're really holding on quite tightly.
There we go. All right. Okay.
I hate
It's
spiders.
going to be weird if it is Sonny the Kavanaugh, Brown Fort Winston Ward, and then Clarkson.
Just Clarkson.
I think it's great. I think it's
great.
great.
Especially in front of these crowd.
All right. Are we ready? Let's go.
They're dissing my marriage.
I'm
Are
not
they?
missing your marriage.
Who is this in your marriage?
The audience.
Well, we can talk about this after. We don't have time. Let's go.
All right, I'm gonna go. We'll go open the doors.
Yes.
See if anybody's out there.
What is the time frame for this?
An hour.
Hopefully at most an hour. So
I have to go back to
oh,
sleep.
what? Where's she going?
Judge Clarkson!
Anyway, sorry. So they each get half an hour, and the appellant can reserve up to 5 minutes of their half an hour for rebuttal. And there's no opening statements or closing statements or anything. It's just that, like, it's just 30 minutes of argument each.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, do we have a clerk? Did you ask for a clerk, Willow?
No.
Because you scheduled this.
No.
Can we get a clerk? We're gonna want a clerk.
No, I don't think any of our morning clerks are off LOA though. That's why.
There can be a recording.
Well, yeah, obviously that's what we'll have to do, right, Sonny? Like, we might ask you to record it if nobody else.
Yes. If I go in first, I can hit record on the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all of our morning clerks are on LOA. Like a lot of them are on LOA. We pretty much only have like Amanda and Gigi right now.
I have noted that it is likely to be zany.
What do you mean, Zany?
The appeal. It's likely to be zany. Mr. Parasite. It's likely to be zany.
Oh. Is he likely to get more contempt?
I'm gonna make my own transcription.
I mean, we'll see. Sure, but we are going to need something to put on the docket is sort of the point that I'm making. So, Sonny, would you be capable of doing that for us?
Oh, yes.
Why can't I put my own transcription on the docket?
Oh, if
Oh,
you want
you
to.
can if you
No,
have the.
Yours might be
Oh,
better
okay.
because mine.
Why don't you both take a transcript and then we'll see whose is better and we'll post that one.
Yours might be better because I get bad headaches when I transcribe in this courthouse specifically. Not in anywhere else, but this whole court building. I have trouble transcribing.
Do you, yeah, I can leave the deliberations out.
Oh yeah. It's just we'll just transcribe the argument. So we'll go out and I'll make sure that you're recording, and then after I call court adjourned, you'll stop it and that'll be it. It's gonna be that easy. I don't think we're gonna roll today.
What do you mean for long? No?
Probably could.
I mean, maybe. It depends on how much time you have, Sonny.
The summary probable cause.
I
helps
don't
us
have anywhere to
define
go.
what-
Okay. I try to I try to take more time writing appeals, specifically because and especially for this issue, I want to make sure that it's sufficiently descriptive.
Okay.
Right.
All right, you good, bailiff?
We are good to go.
All right, let's rock and roll.
All right.
Oh wait, Sunny, are you ready to start transcribing?
Yes.
And is it
All right, you
Sunny
wanna
Day
get-
or Sunny Day Kavanaugh? Sorry.
It is Sunny Day Kavanaugh.
All right, perfect. Okay.
For now. Do we go out? Is it time?
Wait for the all rise.
Hockey balls.
Oh, thank you. Oh, do they know?
Maybe they are waiting for us to start coming out. Okay.
All rise. Court is now in session with the Honorable Circuit Court Judges Sunny Day Kavanaugh, Branford Winstonworth, and Clarkson presiding.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Circuit Judge Brantford Winstonworth. This is Circuit Judge Sunny Day Kavanaugh and Circuit Judge Clarkson. And the three of us are sitting by designation today as appointed by the Supreme Court for the purposes of this appeal. We're thankful to everyone for coming. And of course, those at the gallery are welcome to be seated. So for those of you who are not familiar, the appeals process is slightly different in terms of hearings than the underlying trial process is. For the purposes of appellate argument, each party will have 30 minutes to make their argument. The appellant may reserve up to 5 of those minutes for rebuttal. And once the appellant has made their, anywhere from 25 to 30-minute argument, the appellee, in this case the state, will have the opportunity to make their 30-minute argument, after which case any reserved rebuttal may be utilized by the appellant. So just to get things started, I want to remind everyone to be professional and courteous. The standard courtroom rules do apply today. It seems like we have a lovely group of respectful people in the gallery, and for that we are thankful. And first, if we could ask the appellant to please state their name for the record. Yes, it is.
Hi, I'm Luca.
And what is your last name, Luca?
Pericic.
Pericic? Did I say that right?
Honestly, you were close as anyone never been.
Oh, that's pretty good. Thank you. I will aspire to do better if you keep helping us pronounce it.
Hear me out. Luca is perfect.
Oh, Luca. Okay. All right. Well, with your permission, sir, we will call you Luca. Thank you.
Please do.
And then the appellee, please state your name for the record.
Sergeant Mo Gilgully.
I'll say that one more time. I think the recording was having a hard time picking you up.
No worries, Sergeant Mo Gilgully.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right, beautiful. Does anyone have any pre-hearing matters for us to address, or shall we get right into it? Luca, do you have anything?
I have no idea what that means.
All right, great. And then Mr. Gilgully?
I have nothing pre-trial from the state, Your Honor.
All right, perfect. Again, to be clear, this is not a trial; it's a appellate hearing. But just making sure that everyone is on the same page, because I understand that both of the parties are perhaps less familiar with the specific kind of proceeding. So we want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. All right, I'm gonna get a timer together. So again, Mr. Luca, you're gonna go first. Do you understand what I mean when I say that you can reserve up to 5 minutes for rebuttal?
Yes.
All right, great. I am going to rely on you to track that. I'm going to have my own timer here. And by the way, you don't have to use the entire 30 minutes, but we are going to interrupt and ask questions here and there. That is something that differs from the standard process in an appellate hearing. Judges are very proactive, I would say. And so, if you want to track your own time and you notice that we're getting close to eating into your 5 minutes, you're welcome to reserve as much or as little of that as you want for your, rebuttal period. All right?
Okay.
All right, give me 1 second to put my timer together. All right, Mr. Luca, you may approach the podium, and I'll start the timer when you start speaking.
Okay, so do you want me like to go with the things that I posted in the thing?
Well, this is your argument, Mr. Luca. This is your opportunity to both supplement your brief and to raise any additional points to the court, as well as to make a record on appeal.
To make a
You
what
can-
kind
you
of
know,
record
to-
are we talking about? Am I winning
Well, this
something?
is being recorded, right? And so this is your opportunity to
Oh.
have it, in the record and publicly visible what your arguments are, in perhaps a way that you either did not or could not capture in writing. And certainly, we might have some questions as well, but we like to give people the opportunity to maybe make a little statement and summarize their points before we really get into it.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so today we are here because of things, right? Terrible things. And I don't know where to start, so I will just start with the things. So I have been arrested for illegal parking again. But now it's even less of a thing than it was before. I have not done a single thing that would be against the definition of the criminal thing or whatever, the legal description of the parking. I have been nowhere close to a fire hydrant to whatever the legal limit is. I have not been blocking alleyway. I have. What is there? What's the rest here? Okay, well. Yeah, that's about it. There is nowhere a definition of parking space, so I don't know how someone can try to enforce that.
All right, Mr. Luca, let me ask you a question. There are some photos that got posted to the docket that you may have seen. Now, I want to be clear that the one that was presented on the 11th of August, that labeled one, that certainly will not be considered on appeal because no new evidence is ever accepted for the purposes of appeal. Okay.
Yes.
But I want to ask you, and you should consider that you're speaking before the court, and I understand that you're familiar with the concept of contempt, but we don't really want to go down that road today if we can help it. These photos from July 12th, were these introduced in the underlying trial? And I will be asking Mr. Gilgoli the same question.
12? I have no idea. Let me see what was there on
the
12th.
12th of July. So this is going to be on docket line number 7 of the appeal. Where you had major arguments. Now, these were originally submitted by Mr. McKnight, who I understand is no longer with the Department of Justice. If they were never submitted in the underlying trial, then the court will not consider them for the purposes of appeal. But we need to know whether they were.
The ones from July 12th were in the trial.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
They were, yes? That's a
Yes.
yes? All right, perfect. Thank you. You can keep going.
Yeah, so like on those pictures, you can see that according to the car manufacturer and everything, as what I said in the brief, like the axle split is over 8 feet, which would be similar length to the fire hydrant, which is more than 5. So like I don't. There was no reason to be trying to be charged for illegal parking. And then,
well, let me ask you this, Mr. Luca. Under your definition of illegal parking, wouldn't it be possible for people to simply park everywhere, all over the city, and it would be considered legal?
Well, that's why the city has all the no parking signs, right?
Well, sure,
that
but
are being
I mean,
used.
I understand this is part of your argument, right? But help me understand.
Right.
In your proposal, the city would be required to manufacture, put up, and maintain. And this is a really big one for me because I'm sure you understand people are not respective of city property in this state. I mean, they knock over signs all the time. I'm sure you've seen it. So your proposal is that in order to enforce any parking at all under the current rule, or even under a hypothetical rule, the state would have to maintain all of these parking signs, especially when they're getting knocked over all the time. I mean, how would that possibly be reasonable for the state to enforce?
So what you are trying to say is, A, city should restrict the labor of people. So, there is not enough space on the labor market. That's why public works are around. That's why manufacturers of those signs are around. That's their living. Are you trying to say that people should not be working?
How much steel are we going to spend on putting up and replacing parking signs if we're going to? Essentially, Mr. Gilgully's argument is only those designated parking spots, with the white lines or parking lots or what have you, should be considered as legal to park in. That's I imagine what he's going to get up here and say. And I understand your position and I understand his position. But from what I understand about your argument, in order to achieve his proposed regime, we would have to go put up illegal parking signs on every block of the entire city thereabouts, in order to avoid people leaving their cars out all over the place, which seems to be what the city is getting at with this citation as written. Now, I understand your argument, but do you really think that is cost effective?
But do you really think that enforcing something that is not in the definition of a law is the right thing to do? If you want something to be enforced, make the definition proper.
Well, so here's where the courts come in, Mr. Luke. The court's job is to make best efforts to understand and interpret the statutes as presented by the legislature. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know what that means, so sure.
Oh, okay. So we have state representatives in this state. You understand?
Barely we do, but okay.
Well, certainly. I'll leave that commentary to you. I'm not going to necessarily agree with it or not, but you understand that they do exist. And you understand that their job is to update the laws, right?
Okay.
And you understand that these laws as written were originally passed by the state representatives, right?
Okay.
All right. And you understand that the judiciary does not, write the penal code, right?
Yeah.
So each team has its own job. The state representatives write the laws, and then, someone says, well, the law is not clear enough, or, I think based on the way the law is written that I'm not guilty of this offense. And we say, okay, well, we'll consider your argument. But no matter what phrasing the legislature gives us, our job, as we understand it at least, is to give credence to the effort made by the legislature and to attempt to interpret those laws in a way that more or less aligns with the legislature's intent and also helps to set expectations reasonably for the state. Our job is to keep the state running. From my perspective, and perhaps my colleagues disagree, I'm speaking only for myself, but from my perspective, it would be improper for the court to impose upon the state a ridiculously large financial burden because the legislature maybe failed to include a particular word here or there. Our job is to give credit to the legislature's efforts and intentions. And I don't understand why you're arguing that the legislature must have intended that they would want to spend much more money than they actually allocated to such a project.
Okay, I had great thought in mind, but it already disappeared. But how do you
I'm sorry.
How do you expect me to pay for something that is nowhere said illegal?
Well, I think it does say in the penal code that it's illegally parked in city limits if it's parked in a place that is not a parking space or blocking an alley line. So in this case, the allegation is obviously that you were blocking that you were not in a parking space. There's no white line, right? Like there's no. I think you made this point about there not being a meter there, and that's one thing I understand. But more specifically, it's not marked. Would you agree?
90% of the parking spots are not marked.
What do you mean by that? I would love to hear more about this.
You have parking space in front of the courthouse. It is not marked. Everyone parks there.
That's an interesting point. We'll have to go investigate that. But more specifically, it is designed with infrastructure, right? So you understand that there's there's bump outs and cutouts.
Can I? Because I will forget.
Oh, of course. Go ahead.
You say it is built that way. This area where I was parking is in front of the clothing store that has a lot of traffic, and the road is wide enough to fit.
I've
3
actually
cars
been
next
over to
each
that
other.
clothing store, Mr. Luca. You know, there's a parking lot right across the street.
Yeah, further away for other businesses.
It's about like 100 feet, right?
I don't know how feet work.
30 meters.
Oh, that's definitely more than 40 meters.
How many meters would you say it is?
I would say like 100, 150.
All right, 100 meters. You think you should have to walk fewer than 100 meters for anywhere that you're ever going?
100%.
Oh.
All right, so your position is that you're entitled to park somewhere if there's no other parking within 100 meters. Is that what you're proposing to the court?
No, I'm proposing parking in the safe spot that does not go against the fucking red lines, the fire hydrants, blocking alleyways or whatever, and not blocking a traffic.
Well, I don't think that there's any disagreement about the fact that there was no red line here. So let's not get caught up in that, right? And I don't think there's any argument being made that you were necessarily impeding the flow of traffic with where you were parked.
Argument being made against that as yes, if I remember right.
Well, then we'll wait to see what Mr. Gilgully has to say. But even if we were to take those things for granted, part of the issue here is that it's not a marked parking space, and I don't think there's any indication that there was an intention for vehicles to be parked there. What do you have to say to that?
So what you are saying, anything that is not a marked space should be illegal parking?
Well, that's what Mr. Gilgully is saying. And just to be clear, our job for the purposes of appeal is to ask you both a very extended series of difficult questions. We want to push this thing as far as it can go on both sides. So it's not that we're picking on you, Mr. Luca. I fully intend to do the same to Mr. Gilgully. I want to be very clear about that.
Oh, I get it. But hear me out. Street is wide enough, right? Not blocking anything, not going over the lines, fire hydrants, anything. But not blocking, literally not blocking traffic at all. You can put literally bigger thing that is a semi-truck to drive around with no issues, not swerving into a different lane.
Do you don't think that a semi-truck would have to cross the yellow lines in order to pass your vehicle safely?
Definitely no. There is
all right, and how should law enforcement consider this standard on a go forward basis? So let's say that we implement the Mr. Luca standard for illegal parking, and on a go forward basis, officers are required to consider your standard for how to evaluate whether a vehicle is parked legally or illegally. Can you walk me through the steps that they should take to determine whether or not a vehicle is parked legally?
Use their brain.
Mr. Luca, I appreciate that comment. Don't get me wrong, but I need you to help me with something more specific because this court is required to articulate specific standards. That's how we do law.
Specific standards, huh? Don't be a danger to society.
Yes, sir. Okay. So when an officer comes upon a vehicle and wants to determine whether it's illegally parked, step one is don't be a danger to society. Is that right?
100%. Let's go towards the cop. But first is use the brain. But
first use the brain. Second, don't be a danger to society. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what about when an officer says, well, I used my brain and I determined that vehicle was a danger to society? How can the courts consider, based on this standard, whether or not someone was a danger to society?
And you see, this is why I'm not a lawyer.
Well, I understand, but we do need your help in order to figure out what the rules should be here. You see the issue?
We should go probably by, the thing that says in the thing. Not blocking things, mainly, in my opinion.
All right. Not blocking things. I think that's a good start.
Not blocking anything, like, blocking doors, blocking alleyways, blocking access, blocking the road, blocking ducklings from crossing the road.
And how do we determine whether or not a vehicle is blocking the road? What should be the standard for that?
Tape measure.
Tape measure. So under your proposal, anytime an officer sees a vehicle parked on the side of the road, they should stop their car, get out with a tape measure. And what should they measure?
that really depends on the day. You know, they can measure how good they are feeling, but they should probably measure how far to the things are.
And
How
when they
far
say
to the things the
when you
things
say they
are?
should measure how far the things are, specifically what things are they measuring, and how far apart should those things be?
They are measuring everything. They need to measure every smallest thing that could be blocked or in the way.
I see. Every single smallest thing that could be blocked or in the way. And how far away should a car be from every single thing that could be blocked or in the way?
It's a very good question. What units do you want it in?
We could do meters or feet, your preference.
Let me do calculation.
You guys should feel free to chime in at any time.
Yes, you're taking
No,
many,
literally interrupt me. That's what this
many
is
of
for.
my points, and I don't want to interrupt neither.
No, please interrupt.
Okay,
It's
so-
more fun if you interrupt.
I'm looking at car specs right now, and I would say about 2 meters to the center of the road.
2
and the-
meters from the car or from the sidewalk?
From the edge of the car.
Okay,
So you can
all
safely
right.
pass around it without going into
To the middle of the
incorrect
road, you
lane.
said.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
And then it would depend what everything else you want to count. If you want to go with the fire hydrants, red lines, sidewalks. all the-
Let me can I
Uh-huh.
clarify here? You said so an officer should get out and measure 2 meters to make sure you have room to pass any parked car. Is that what you're saying? Just to clarify?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so if a car is parked on the side of the road, they should pull up alongside you, and if they don't have 2 meters between your car and their car, then it's illegal parking, according to your
Wait, what?
statement.
What do you mean between my car and their car?
Am
I
I
will need more-
misunderstanding this, Bradford?
I will need more description
I think
on how
he
you...
said 2 meters from the edge of his car to the middle of the road. So like 2 meters of open space.
Okay. I thought he said 2 meters to have room to pass. Between
I don't-
You see,
I
Mr.
don't
Luca,
mean
it's
like-
very important to be precise.
Yeah, I know, and that's why we are here.
Exactly.
And I have one more question, because earlier you talked about, time and money and, resources to check out, illegally parked cars that aren't in the way. Do you not think it would be a use of time and resources to go up to every vehicle and measure, as you put it, everything?
Okay, hear me out, Willow. If they go to a crime that they want to stop, they still all do the things that they need to do to stop the crime. This is the same thing. Are
So
we
you're
trying to
alleging
categorize
that
it in
a crime
different
is
things?
being taken place then?
Well, they think it is. And if they think crime is being taken place, shouldn't they go through the steps?
Which means they have enough PC to question you and request your identity if you're in the vicinity of this said crime being taken place?
Not what I'm talking about. You are putting words in your mouth.
I am simply going off some of your statements that are in your own appellate brief.
Okay.
Did you not state that they did not have the PC to question you and identify you?
They didn't try to question me.
You did state that they tried to identify you.
Yeah, but they didn't try to question me.
Okay, but identifying you is questioning you because they're asking you who you are.
Mr. Luca, did you hear Miss
Yeah, I
Clarkson?
did.
Do you have any response?
That I'm disappointed in her
Oh, why is that?
because of Kellyanne.
Mr. Luca, I would like it that we keep the conversation today
sorry.
limited to the case at hand. I think it's improper to comment on the personal lives of the panel that is before you. Do you understand?
Sure. Don't worry, I would comment on you as well if I knew you.
Let me read your
I'm
exact.
certain that you would. I'm certain that you would.
Let me read your exact words back to you, Mr. Luca. It says here, right here, August 10th, in your appellate brief. Furthermore, if there was no illegal parking violation, there was not PC for identifying me, and there would never be any trial thingy thing.
Okay, but did he try to question the car?
Well, we will ask him
I don't
if
think
he
a
tried
car
to
can ask.
question
Yeah,
the
I don't think
car
a
when
car
he
can
comes
answer
up.
questions, Mr. Luca.
Well, he didn't do proper job, did he?
Mr. Luca, do you think that vehicles can speak English?
100%.
Really? Tell me more about this.
Well, when you go to repair it, they tell you how fucked you are.
And what words do they tell you? What language? Do they speak English? Is it like mental communication? Is it
100%
sign
mental.
language?
What? Willow, come on. Cars cannot do sign language. That would be crazy.
No, I didn't. think they could
Mr.
speak.
Luca,
No.
so you said that the vehicles speak English to you? Like you can understand the words that they're saying?
100%. You don't talk with your car?
Well, I want to be clear. Your statement was that the car talks to you. Is that correct?
Well, usually it's two-way conversation. Otherwise, it would be just crazy.
Well, sure. I understand. But can you tell me some examples of things that your car says to you?
Yo, I'm fucked. I need help.
The car says that to you. That's what the car says?
Yeah, things like that, you know.
And it says that in clear English?
100%.
Okay. And is it just your car or is it other cars?
I don't really drive other cars, so probably just mine cars.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have a question.
Okay.
I'll go for it, Sunny, if you have something.
Oh, I would like for him to demonstrate the voice in which the car did speak to him.
I feel like that would be very impolite to me trying to pretend someone else's voice.
Well, let me ask you this: if the car has a voice of its own, and why did you not have the car come testify on your behalf on the day
Because
of court?
I can't bring any new witnesses.
No, on the day of court, August 12th.
No, on the bench trial, she's saying.
Oh, because they steal it.
All right. And how often do you talk to your car, Mr. Luca?
Daily.
All right.
All
Did
right.
you request of the courts for them to release your vehicle to subpoena it for a testimony?
No, but they barely took me there.
Okay. All right. Mr. Luca, is there anything else you wanted to argue? You've got 7 minutes left on the timer, so you got 2 minutes if you want to save 5 for rebuttal.
Nah, I'm fine.
All right. Do you want to reserve your remaining time for rebuttal?
Sure, it will probably not be needed, but you never know.
Certainly. All right. You can return to your desk and stick around after court, too. We may want to chat.
Oh, say less.
Oh my god.
Mr. Gilgully, you can approach the podium. The timer will start when you begin speaking.
Today, September 15th, 2024, we are discussing a case with a concealed amount of impact on how we interpret the law in San Andreas. Today, on this beautiful Sunday morning, we are genuinely having a large impact on the frankly mundane task of parking in the state of San Andreas. The state, myself, believe there are two key factors to the topic today. These are simply, did Luca illegally parked on July 12th? And did law enforcement act in good faith in pursuing this citation? I'd like to first touch on the latter. In the original case, there was multiple eyewitness testimony that I, Mo Gilgully, gave multiple requests for Luca to move their vehicle, and multiple demands for Luca to identify.
All right, Mr. Gilgully, before you get too into it, I just want to resolve a quick procedural item. Mr. Luca said that the photos from the 12th were introduced during the bench trial. Is that correct?
That is correct. They were submitted as evidence in the original docket. And
all right, is there any other
testimony.
evidence that was submitted on the original docket that may not have been captured?
Yes. Give me 1 second to get that for you, if you do not mind.
Thank you. I see that there was like pockets, but I think the major item of concern here is the photos.
Yes. So there was the possessions. I do not believe any possessions were seized from
Right.
Luca on that day. So that is not relevant to the appeal here today. There's
Right.
also some evidence submitted by the defendant, now appellant here, that were of, I believe, vehicles parked out front of the courtroom on the day of the bench trial, which I also I'm happy to speak on, but I do not think is relevant for the case today.
Since he brought it up, why don't you tell us your thoughts?
Well, out front of the courthouse, there are black lines and an indented side road that are the length of a vehicle. I'll get more into it later, but I believe that is
It is
sufficient to identify a parking space.
By black lines, do you just mean like the creases between the concrete slabs?
That are conveniently the size of most vehicles, yes.
Okay. All right. I understand what you're saying. I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same quote unquote black lines.
Absolutely.
I wasn't meaning to be insulting. Carry on.
No worries. I did not take it that way, Your Honor.
That resolves my procedural items. You can get back to like whatever your spiel was.
Absolutely. So there was eyewitness testimony that Luca would need to be identified, or they would be placed under arrest. The eyewitness testimony that specifically stated that I said this directly to Luca: if you do not identify, I will arrest you for failure to identify. Those were words that were said, in which Luca did not comply. They continued to not comply. Law enforcement would not have made the simple request repeatedly multiple times if the law was pursued in bad faith. For this reason, the charge of failure to identify should uphold, even if it is found by you today that the parking was legal. And I think it goes without saying that the contempt of court should not be appealed, as the Honorable Doc Hillard's courtroom was disrespected by Luca multiple times, and that is irrelevant to the charges he was being faced on that day.
Can you elaborate a little on those situations?
On the contempt?
Yeah.
I believe Luca, based off my memory, was had quite the sailor's mouth in Doc's courtroom that day, and was warned multiple times to keep the cursing outside of this courtroom, and they failed to do so, and thus was found in contempt.
And did you in fact question the vehicle? No.
I did not at any point question the vehicle.
And why is that?
Because I do not think that it is sane to question a vehicle.
All right.
Mr.
Noted
Goldwilly,
for the courts. Thank you.
is it your argument today that the vehicle is not capable of speaking English? I just want to get to the bottom of this.
I think that other than programmed, I guess, voice to text and such on the console, I mean, there's some fancy cars that do that, but I do not think the car is capable of answering questions from law enforcement in regards to the law. No.
All right, thank you.
They might say fuel tank low sometimes.
Mr. Giogoli, hello there. Question: you say you're pursuing this citation in good faith. This citation was being the illegal parking, yes?
Correct.
And what were the standards that you are using to apply this citation of illegal parking?
Well, I do have my own opinion on that I'm happy to share with the court today.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
So the second topic that the second factor of the topic today is, was Luca illegally parked? As described in the San Andreas Penal Code, Section 3, subsection I, a motor vehicle is illegally parked in city limits if it is parked in a place that is not a parking space, or blocking an alley lane, or parked within 5 feet of a fire hydrant. Luca, factually, was not parked in a space that is in any way, shape, or form identified as a parking space, as there is not a legal definition as to how a parking space is identified or what a parking space is. Common sense must be used. I believe.
All right, Mr. Google, that's a very interesting point. And here's my concern. I think everyone can agree, and I think even you would admit that a law that does not articulate a clear rule is something that affords officer discretion. Is that right?
In most circumstances, I would agree. I do have an example of another law that this could apply with if you'd like to hear that.
Let's get back to that. I'll keep it in your pocket, but I wanna follow this thread of reasoning for a second.
Go ahead.
I think something that Luca is trying to argue here is something that the court absolutely should consider, which is if this comes down to officer discretion about when to apply the illegal parking citation as opposed to, doing so more consistently. And I think this is probably a big frustration with people in San Andreas. Doesn't this create opportunities for officers to unfairly target specific individuals with citations of this nature? If it's going to be our ruling today that, you could apply this in every circumstance, but as we all know, this is very uncommon citation.
I completely agree that it is an uncommon citation. I believe that is because of the way the law is written. I'll have you know, for insight, I have sent in a recommendation to legislation to change the wording on illegal parking. But the reason I'm here today.
But do you see my concern about potential not to put too fine a point on it, but we'll call it malicious prosecution just so everyone understands what we're getting at. Shouldn't that be a concern for the court?
What specifically? Officer discretion being used so openly with this charge?
So if this citation is like almost never issued, and then it's only issued in specific circumstances, shouldn't we be concerned that it's being deployed against individuals that law enforcement finds unsavory, as opposed to applied broadly against the populace?
Can I speak frankly, Your Honor?
Certainly.
I do not believe that law enforcement should really be held to that extent, as if the individuals that are being held accountable for this could simply take it to traffic court after identifying and receiving the ticket. That's why that system exists. If they believe that law enforcement are misusing...
No, that's a perfectly good point. I was hoping you would make it. All right, so let's follow that thread of reasoning. Very good. Let's say we do come to traffic court, okay? What would be the standard that you think we should apply when determining whether or not this was malicious prosecution? And then, under what circumstances should we throw out a ticket, even if based on your proposed application of the rule, it would be facially valid? You see where I'm going with this?
Absolutely. I believe that there, on every single city block, there is identified parking spaces.
No, I understand. Don't get me wrong. Let's say the rule is facially applied as valid. Let's say that under the circumstances, the court should find that illegal parking did apply, but the argument is simply that I was specifically targeted for abuse by officers, and so under that basis, you should throw out my ticket. How should the court consider those cases? What standards should be applied?
I think at the most you could question the officer on their intent and use your authority to make decisions from that point. But I do not believe that this is the I don't believe what you're suggesting or saying is a problem. And if it becomes a problem, I think it can be handled on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, thank you. It's just important that we, similar to Mr. Luca, I want to follow the thread on the logic all the way down and understand the potential unintended consequences of any potential policy change that may result from our decision today. I imagine that if we find in Mr. Luca's favor, then perhaps we'll see an increased incidence in people parking in the same way that he did. And I imagine that if we find in your favor, then we'll see an increased incidence in illegal parking tickets. And I want to believe that officers would apply this standard, judiciously and fairly and consistently across the entire population. But I think you could agree that it's likely that people are going to cry foul, regardless of whether or not the officers did so in good faith. And so it's important for this court to be able to consider, okay, if we go down this road and people do start crying foul, what should we do about it? Especially if it leads to some volumes. You understand?
I do completely understand what you're saying, Your Honor, and I think that if there is an increase of parking tickets and those contesting said parking tickets. I think that this appeal and the previous case that this appeal came from is important case laws to just identifying whether
Oh,
something
I think we agree that it's important. I think we agree that it's important. Don't get me wrong. No concerns there. All right, you can keep going. I've satisfied my logical threads.
No worries. Thank you, Your Honor. So I just wanted to go over that the multiple ways to identify a parking space that is on every single city block, if that's okay.
It's your time.
Of course. So if you on any city block within Los Santos, you can see parking lines on the side of roads. There's some outside. There's parking lots that are common. There's a parking lot or a parking garage on, again, almost every single city block, if not every other city block. There's signs. There's parking meters. There's no law that enforces parking at parking meters, but again, they are there to signify that there is parking there that you can park.
Sorry, to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, would you say that under your proposed regime, a parking meter is a sufficient but not necessary condition of being able to legally park?
I think that there is no law that states that you need to pay at a parking meter, so it is no different
I
than a
understand,
sign saying you can park here. Yes.
Well, that's what I mean. Is a parking meter, from your perspective, evidence that parking is permitted in a location?
Correct.
Okay, all right, great.
All right. I do want to say as well, I want to give an example of another situation where something is mentioned within a law, but not legally defined. And that is robbery. Robbery is a charge that law enforcement charge people with on a daily basis, maybe more than a dozen times a day. It is one of the most common crimes that are committed in this state. Robbery describes money or goods as the objects being taken. Money and goods are not defined in our penal code, much like a parking space. But we all know what money or goods are. We all know that. If we went through, as Mr. Luca is stating, and every single noun needed to be described in our general laws and definitions, we would have a mess of a penal code. Every single branch of our laws would have a headache at every single case if we did not apply common sense like we need to do with parking spaces in this current time. Can they be defined? Go ahead.
This is an interesting point, Mr. Gilgully. But let me put it back to you this way. Isn't sort of what we do in court adding definitions to these words? Aren't we sort of getting there inevitably anyway?
You're absolutely right. I'm just saying that there is nothing stating what it is previously, right? I do not have case law to say what a parking space is defined in a courtroom, so we have to do it here today.
I understand. Right. Sorry. What I meant was your point about it becoming unwieldy. I mean, I think it's sort of going to get unwieldy inevitably either way as we proceed down the road of history in San Andreas. Right. Eventually, I imagine we're going to have enough test cases that we do end up defining all these terms. And perhaps actually it would make more sense to have a glossary section of the penal code or what have you, so that those definitions are codified and easily accessible as opposed to being, spread out across judicial opinions. I would hope the state legislators are attentive enough to engage in that kind of thing and for the benefit of the public. But I just want to make the point that an undefined term now doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be defined in the future. And to that end, Mr. Luca made a very interesting argument. You're familiar with these red curbs across the city?
Absolutely.
All right. So similar to this whole item about parking signs and lines and things of that nature, I have a very interesting question for you. What is the point of these red curbs?
I do not know. It is not defined in our laws, to my understanding. They sometimes mark loading zones or sewer grates, stuff of that nature, but there is no legal definition or nothing disallowing you from parking there.
I agree that there is no legal definition of the red curbs in our penal code. How do you think people generally understand the red curbs?
I think people assume you cannot park there, but I am of the opinion that there's nothing legally stating you can or can't, other than the fact that it is most likely not identified as a parking space via the
but the city obviously spent some effort on painting these red curbs, right?
I'm sure at some point they did. It might have been when the law was different and maybe red lines were included. I haven't been here my whole life, so I'm not sure.
Oh, that's fair enough. For your benefit, I'm not aware of any time when the parking definition relied on the red. I mean, I think we can all agree that parking is not permitted where the red lines are. That seems obvious to me. But part of, I think, the concern here is I think the public to some extent understands the red lines to be this is a judicial canon of construction. It's essentially, if you say one thing and then remain silent as to the rest, then you imply that you've excluded the rest from the definition of the one thing. And in this case, that's sort of how people understand the red lines to work, which is that, you know, the red lines define areas where parking is not permissible. And then if there is no red line, then people assume that they can park elsewhere. Now, I take your point. I take your point that parking spaces are defined in the penal code and yada yada yada. But what do you recommend the court does about this whole red line situation? How do you think the court should interpret this when establishing its ruling here today?
I hope that the court interprets the law as it is currently written, and not what there is marked out on the streets of San Andreas, because I think we can both agree there's a lot of traffic infrastructure that does not make sense on the streets. I think what we have to go by.
Oh, that I agree with, certainly, Mr. Golgoli, certainly.
On that note, I have a question as well.
Of course.
So it was brought up by Mr. Luca about the use of police resources on vehicles who are, they may not be abiding by what is written in the penal code, but they're not obstructing traffic. They are not doing anything otherwise illegal beyond the illegal parking. How do you feel about the police resources being used on vehicles like that versus vehicles that actually are impeding traffic and you said like extra of that?
I personally believe that the law enforcement have the right to pursue whatever crimes they are presented with. Obviously, our discretion is limited when it becomes felonious, but that is not the case today. Discretion is a powerful thing. It's a powerful tool that I pray that every officer uses appropriately on the day-to-day. I do not think that the need to measure, and if I can I don't know if I'm allowed to use any of my rebuttal time now, but if I can bring up one of Mr. Lucas'
Oh, you don't get
now.
rebuttal time, Mr. Gilgoli, so you just go into it.
Okay, I will start going into one of the Lucas points then. First and foremost, he states that 2 meters from the edge of the car to the center of the road is more than enough space. The average semi-truck is 8 feet wide, or approximately 2.6 meters. So his proposal already does not allow for wide load vehicles to pass, just based off of that being said in of itself. So I don't. As far as what I think about the proposals made by Mr. Luca in regards to how this law should be perceived, that's one of the main clerical errors that I heard today.
Okay. Specifically, I was asking, do you think that the court should look into, is it currently the way things are worded, using up resources that don't need to be used? We understand officer discretion, but they are going based off what is written down, the law as it is. Do you think it would help preserve any, police resources, for that to change, or the way we view parking and illegal parking to change?
I think with the way that it currently is, it would be a waste of police resources to have to weigh measure every single angle of a car for an illegal parking ticket. If we are not able to visually use our discretion to say, is that or is that not a parking space, especially with the way I've personally defined it here today, then it would take too much time for something as simple as an illegal parking ticket to process these. It's not exactly the most efficient way to do things, in my opinion.
So you do believe the way it is set up currently, it gives officers, it's easier on officer resources, so they do not need to specifically, I guess, like you said, measure every inch, and they can just visually say this is not a parking space, so therefore this is illegal, and I can proceed to my next steps in getting it handled.
Yes, I would say with the lack of description of what a parking space is, I do believe, as I've said before, common sense of is anything that identifies as a parking space present? If yes, it is legally parked. If no, it is not legally parked. Or if it is within space of a fire hydrant or blocking an alley, of course.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, and so under that proposal, Mr. Gilgully, if we start getting these cases, and I imagine that we will, where someone says, well, you know, the place where I was parked had such and such indicator of it being a legal parking space, a legal, not an illegal, to be clear, that it was allowed to be parked there. How do you think we should start considering these? Because I think one concern that the court has is we're going to see a volume of cases about defining parking spaces. You see the issue?
I would perceive that as a benefit for the courts and our officers. Personally, I understand that it might be. I think that it either needs to the legislation can either get ahead of it and define it for us, which I have already proposed. I believe well over about 2 months ago.
All right.
Or the obviously the courts will have to make these decisions, which is why case law exists.
Oh, certainly. And I mean, it's not that we don't want to do so. We're just trying to anticipate exactly what the parties are contemplating. You understand?
I completely understand.
All right, perfect.
How much time do I have, if you don't mind me asking?
You got 7 minutes and 15, okay. 14, 13.
Got it. Okay. I'd like to just go over a few of the points that Mr. Luca made today. First and foremost, he stated that he was arrested for illegal parking. He was not arrested for illegal parking. He was arrested for failure to identify. Any infraction, any suspicion, any reasonable suspicion, any idea that law enforcement has any idea that someone will or is going to commit a crime, they can be identified. Failure to identify is a charge that exists, that has jail time. He was arrested for such. I also want to mention that we mentioned a parking lot across the street up the road. I also wanted to mention that there were parking meters up the road approximately 15 meters north of where Luca was originally parked, which I also pointed out at the exact same.
I have a question about this, actually. Yes, as the court is going to have to make these determinations. All right, so if there's no marked space, but there is a parking meter, yes. Would that be legal to park? Would that be permissible?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And
I'm just trying to anticipate all of these potential, it's like grid of choices,
Sure. Mr. Luca also mentioned that we stole their car, and that's why the car could not testify. We did not steal it. We sent it to Hayes Automotive with no fine attached, which he could have, not because he was detained, but it wasn't stolen. It was simply sent to somewhere he could publicly access. Which we could have gone if we wanted the car to testify, if the Honorable Judge Doc Hillard wanted to entertain that. So I just wanted to go over those points while they're fresh in my mind.
Thank you.
Very last thing I want to go over, that Luca was parked directly next to a fire hydrant. I understand that it was not measured. That was never my point in the original case. I would say that it is approximately maybe 5 to 6 feet away, which is over the legal limit, which is why it wasn't my main argument. I didn't measure the distance from the fire hydrant. But I will say, based on the photos that were originally submitted, there was not enough reasonable space for a fire truck to use that fire hydrant if it was needed, which I believe is the spirit of that law. That's the entire purpose of those fire hydrants to be used. And if there was not enough reasonable space for a fire truck to use it, his car would have been towed or driven through by by fire and rescue. That's just how it works. They have a legal authority to do that if you park too close to a fire hydrant. They're not going to take their time.
What is the process for driving through it, by the way? Do they have like a separate vehicle other than the fire truck that they use to like ram it? I'm very curious about this.
I don't know their procedures. I just know that I've seen it where they will move your car out of the way forcefully.
I believe that. If it's an emergency. I believe that. No doubts there, Mr. Gilgully.
Right. I cannot speak on fire and rescue's authority, SOPs, or procedures. I just know I've seen it firsthand.
I was curious if you had first-hand knowledge. That's all.
If there are any questions from the court, I'm ready to answer. But at this time, I insist that the court upholds the charges, reaffirm their authenticity, and I want to thank you all for your time as well.
Miss Day Kavanaugh, Miss Clarkson, anything?
I kind of have more questions for Mr. Petrov.
Oh, you're gonna have your time. Don't worry. I just want to know if we got anything for Mr. Golgole.
I do not.
No,
All right,
don't
thank
think
you.
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Golgole. We appreciate your time.
You as well.
Mr. Luca, you can come back to the podium. Mr. Luca, you got 5 minutes. Your time will start when you begin speaking. And just so you know, we will still ask you questions during this time.
Okay, I have a few points just to make. So he said that the parking from the courthouse is okay in his view. So, he's just going again from his view, not of what law says. They wouldn't take your ID in the bad faith. They would definitely try to get my name in the bad faith, even when I didn't do anything. We all know money is the thing. Common sense in parking space, in my opinion, is place where you can park and not block shit. Get the red line into the illegal parking definition. To your points, less resources, paint will stick, and you can get it away. Waste of police resources. So you are saying you are not willing to do the work properly? Oh, yeah, measurement of the fire hydrant was not his point, but that was apparently the reason why I was found guilty by the judge. Just saying, he wrote it in his statement as well. And if something is in the spirit of the law, why is it not written in the law? That's it, thanks.
All right.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, Mr. Luca, out of curiosity, you understand that the court can affirm for any reason in the record, not just what the judge said. Like, we could find that maybe the judge's reasoning we didn't necessarily agree with, but that we still find the result the same, right?
Hey, you do you. I'm just,
Okay. I just want to make it clear
was...
to you because you admit that you're not a lawyer. So, we're trying to be helpful.
Yeah. But him saying that it was closer than 5 feet, but it was not measured anyways, it, kind of a bullshit if you ask me.
I understand.
Oh, yeah, and one more thing. When he said, sorry, Mo, I will not try to pronounce your last name. I know better than that. But in his opinion, so why would his opinion be more valuable than my opinion?
I assure you that we consider everyone's opinions equally, and we go with what we think is best for the state based on the legislature's intent.
Yeah, no, I'm just, saying that in his opinion, the place is legal to park in front of the courthouse, but it's just his opinion.
No, I understand.
Yep, that's from me. Unless you have any questions.
You had one, Sonny?
No, I would change my mind. I don't see the need to ask these questions.
Oh, I think you should ask them. We've got time.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, I will ask these questions, Mr. Petrovic. If
no,
we
please.
go back to your definition, parking with 2 meters to the center of the road. in your definition of illegal parking, would then parking on the sidewalk be illegal?
Parking on the sidewalk? That's crazy. Unless there is a sign telling you to park on the sidewalk, then there is difference.
So your argument is there must be a sign no matter what?
No, that's not what I say.
So next question. The smaller vehicle obviously would have more space on either side. So are you asserting that the smaller vehicle would be having more right to park wherever they wanting, so long as it is...
Okay, hear me out. I was speedballing numbers on the place in 20 seconds, okay? I don't know.
Also, you did assert, in your opinion, illegal parking is not blocking shit.
Yes, that I will agree on.
Okay, perfect. So, if we are going to be based on your opinion, what is the purpose of the penal code?
For it to be specific? Question mark?
Okay.
So do you think every law, there's no room for interpretation and spirit of the law if it's not written exactly in a certain way, then
Okay,
it
Willow,
should
what is
not
your
be taken
definition of
any other
spirit of
way?
the law?
I think to interpret the intention, what is, you know, good and safe, and not like unreasonable. So like if someone, obviously, like let's say you, for instance, are saying, you know, they had no right to call the courthouse a parking space because it does not specifically have outlined like white lines or defined as a parking space, correct?
Sorry, Willow, I cannot talk to you anymore. It's been over 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. Well, you can answer the question, Mr. Luca.
Oh, I forgot. What was the question, Willow?
Are you defining that because in front of the courthouse, as you brought it up, that it's not a parking spot because it does not directly have the white lines that was stated
If you
earlier,
should
that
register
defines a
is
parking spot?
George
No, in my
Clarkson,
opinion,
not
it is
Willow.
parking spot, but it's the same thing, you know, with
Oh,
the
that's
other
true.
places they don't have markings.
It is not
All
the
right.
same though, is it?
I think these are very good points by all sides. We've exhausted our time, and I understand the Chief Justice is interested in the timeliness of court cases. We are going to try to issue an opinion today. If it's going to take more than, let's say, 20 minutes, then we'll come back out and tell you that we're reserving ruling, but try to get it up today. But maybe we'll be able to get that opinion out shortly. So I appreciate everyone's time. Court is now in recess.
So are we supposed to stay here or can we go around about our days?
You can leave if you want to, but if you want to hear the potential ruling, then you might want to stay.
Oh, say less.
It is this way.
Yeah, I forgot.
There we go. I'm putting the screen up so I know when to resume the audios. This, I believe in you. You can go into the chambers. Oh my gosh, she looking so cute. I'm taking that outfit. Not not off of you, but I will take it for me. Over here.
We're just gonna whisper here and let he's fine typing up the verdict for this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the courts are just a little concerned because he very clearly stated to the courts in what should be a very serious matter.
Mhm.
And he, even with clarification, stuck to the fact that vehicles can speak. They speak to him. They say things to him.
They speak
Uh,
English.
Are they all of them speak English, even the like foreign manufactured ones?
Yeah, we didn't specify that, but that could be a good question. He stated that his vehicle was stolen from him, and he that's why it could not testify on his behalf.
Right.
um,
Okay.
and he's also he asserted a point in his case here. The officers were in the wrong because they did not question the vehicle.
Well, if they can't talk to the vehicle, how can they question it? This is my question.
Well, see, that's our question because it seems very clear. At least, unless he's thinking he's just Mr. Funny Business. It seemed very clear that he believes the vehicles can speak and should have been afforded the right to be questioned.
All right. Well, I didn't think my day was going to get weirder.
He did
Yeah.
also give examples. He said, when cars are damaged, they say, "Oh, I am hurting," or something to that effect.
Or like I'm effing broke up or something like that.
Oh.
Now, on the street, on the side, just public, casual speaking area, I probably wouldn't look at this too deeply. But this is a very serious
It's a
matter.
court. Yeah, it's a court
We're
of
in
law.
a court hearing, and to stand by it even through our questioning and clarification.
Okay. Do you believe he may be a danger to himself or others?
I do not, unless I don't know.
I don't believe he demonstrate any
Yeah.
behavior of being dangerous. However, I could consider some situations that it could be dangerous to believe that cars can talk to you and you can talk to the cars. What if he wandering out in traffic to answer the car question? What if he is driving and his car is angry at another car?
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah, or what if someone, gets in a fender bender and he believes they just, hurt his dear precious friend and not just, a vehicle that can be repaired. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can have a chat with him and see where we sit. Geez, this is. Well, yeah, I can try.
Okay. So we will be ending here shortly. Brantford, he is finishing up typing up the verdict that we're going to read to the courts, and then we've already asked Mr. Luca to stay behind and do another matter after court is finished.
Okay, so do you want me just to hang around for the rest of the trial and then speak to him after?
If that is okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it should be less than like 10. I guess like 10 more minutes.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
No worries. Okay. Well, this
I
is.
really love that outfit though.
It's good, right? I was like, what can I wear to court?
I mean,
And then
there's
I
a
found
there's
this
a
in my
changing
locker.
room right in there. You could see if we have anything similar. You could get play dress up while we wait.
What? Then I would have to change in my robes.
You can put
I
it
can't
right back
change the
on.
robes.
Oh wait, can I have your robes? And you can have my outfit.
Oh, I don't know.
Or would that be possession of government property?
Yeah, that would be me entrapping you, and then if you get charged with it, then you'll be like, oh my god, I was entrapped.
Yeah. Yeah, then you'd be in a
have
real
appeals
pickle.
trial about it.
You know? Yeah.
And
I
then
do
you
like
could claim
pickles.
not guilty because the robe said that it was okay to wear them.
Get the
Wait.
ropes talking to you.
What did you just say? You like the what?
I said then you could plead not guilty because the robe said it was okay to wear them.
Yeah, no, sorry. The other is it Sunny?
Oh, yes, me?
Yeah, what did you say there?
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh,
What did I say?
I don't know. It sounded like something, but I don't think it was.
What did it sound like?
I'm not. I plead the fifth.
Oh, I would say this is not a court of law. You do not have to plead defeat, but we are technically in the court.
I have the right to remain silent. I don't. It just, yeah, it sounded like a thing. I don't think it was the thing though. It's okay.
Oh, you should text me the thing you're thinking. I want to know now. Maybe I did it.
Yeah. Hold on. Well, I'll just text you. Is that what we'll do?
Your outfit
Yeah,
is
yeah.
pretty bomb though.
I know, I love it so much.
Wait, your number's not on there. You're not on the thing.
Well, I am in Defeat Finder.
Oh, judiciary. I don't know. I was looking in the wrong place.
Where were you
You were
looking?
looking at Department of Justice.
I was
weren't
looking at Department of Justice. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
you? I'm not either. I'm a judge.
Yeah, me neither. I guess technically I am.
Oh,
bar
yeah.
certified.
We're bar certified. Who's been bar certified longer, me or you?
I don't know.
When did you get bar certified?
June of last year. Maybe even July.
I got bar certified April 11th, 2023.
Oh, then you are first because I had to get record expunged.
Oh yeah, you were
And I
still
kept going back to jail because I confessed to more things.
I was like,
You
you're
know, I
still a
don't even know how
criminal
to
when I was
phrase
a
this.
lawyer.
I don't know how to phrase what I thought you said. I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay.
It is very hard for this court to order you. I'm just kidding.
Okay, thank you. Thank God. I don't know. I'm very respectful of the court system.
How are you, Sergeant? How have you been? Is enjoying, not enjoying?
This is I find the pettier the trial seems, the more entertaining it is.
I feel like there is punching out there.
Was there-
something? Was everybody okay out there? 105.
I almost wore my kangaroo court outfit, but it wouldn't have been appropriate.
Oh,
I think this outfit's quite appropriate.
you make me look fat. Are you expecting?
Wait, what? Did you just call me fat and then ask if I'm pregnant?
No, I see the robe make us look fat.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Sorry,
What did
I
you ask? Are
misunderstood.
you expecting
Yeah.
Oh, I asking you.
me?
Well, I
Oh my
mean, look
God.
at the robe, sudden
What?
wedding.
Look at your robes. Did you get down with Doc way more? I mean, sorry.
It only take a one. We have the doctor expert here. One time.
It does, and you know,
Oh my goodness.
wait, I'm so confused.
Can I read you guys what I wrote and you tell me if you have Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
It's gonna be on the docket too. All right, let's go.
Okay.
All rise. Court is now back in session.
All right, thank you everyone for your patience. We did work diligently, and we are prepared to rule. Before the court is the appeal of Luka Pericic. This matter is an appeal of the State of San Andreas versus Luka Pericic, 2024 CM228. This matter has been fully briefed, and the court has reviewed all submitted materials. A hearing was held on September 15th, 2024, and arguments were heard from the appellant and appellee. The appellant identifies no specific items of contention on appeal, instead focusing on the broader injustice that was done to him by finding him guilty. We deem these arguments to be assertions of error by the trial court, and therefore the issues on appeal. The appellee has addressed each issue in its response. Neither party provided any arguments in their briefing about the standard of review that the court should consider for any of the issues presented. The court thus takes the opportunity to review sua sponte, the appropriate standard, and will advise of each standard at the outset of its review of each issue. The first issue before the court is an assertion that the trial court erred by finding that Mr. Pericic was illegally parked. Because this claim addresses a finding of the trial court, courts of appeals consider issues of this nature from the standard of review of clear error. We will therefore affirm for any reason in the record. During oral arguments, the appellant asserted that he was not illegally parked because his vehicle was more than 5 feet from the fire hydrant, because there was no sign indicating that parking was prohibited, because he was not obstructing traffic, and because the curb was not painted red. By contrast, the appellee asserted that the penal code defines illegal parking as parking in any location, quote, that is not a parking space, end quote. The appellee's definition would limit legal parking to any location that is marked or otherwise demonstrably intended to allow legal parking, and forbid it otherwise. The court is tasked with applying the law as written and upholding the intention of the legislature that established it. In this case, there can be no dispute that Mr. Pericic was not parked in a marked parking space. Photographic and testimonial evidence established that Mr. Pericic was parked near a fire hydrant and alongside an unmarked curb. The court finds that Mr. Pericic was illegally parked. Despite Mr. Pericic's argument that officers could safely drive around him, this is not sufficient to establish legal parking. Specifically, and in the interest of removing ambiguity, this court holds that a vehicle is legally parked, that is to say lawfully, if it is parked in a location intended to be used as a parking space as designated in at least one of the following ways. Bullet point. Lines painted to indicate parking spaces, such as those found in parking lots. Next bullet point. The presence of parking meters. Next bullet point. Physical infrastructure designed to accommodate parking, such as cutouts. Next bullet point. Other markings that clearly intend and permit lawful parking. This court's holding underlines and applies the intention of the legislature, which has limited legal parking to defined spaces as articulated in the citation for illegal parking. The court further notes that any changes to the citation subsequent to this ruling may expand or contract the potential opportunities for lawful and unlawful parking, but hopes that the above list may help officers and citizens to better understand the legislature's intent. On the issue of finding that Mr. Pericic was illegally parked, we affirm the trial court in the entirety for the reasons given. A second issue before the court is whether the trial court erred by finding Mr. Pericic guilty of failure to identify. As with the illegal parking, courts of appeals consider issues of this nature from the standard of review of clear error. Again, we will affirm for any reason in the record. Because this court finds that Mr. Pericic was illegally parked, the officers had reasonable suspicion that he identified himself. On the issue of the charge of failure to identify, we affirm the trial court in the entirety for the reasons given. Finally, the third issue before the court is whether the trial court erred in its issuance of contempt. Again, we affirm for any reason in the record. The court notes that an appeal of contempt offers strong deference to the trial court. The court finds that Mr. Pericic has not presented sufficient evidence of error by the trial court that would be sufficient to reverse and remand. On the issue of the trial court's issuance of contempt, we affirm the trial court in the entirety for the reasons given. This matter presented the court with the opportunity to consider and create precedent on an important matter related to everyday travel in our great state of San Andreas. The court thanks the parties for their efforts and attention and hopes that this matter provides additional clarity about the important issue of lawful parking. For the reasons given, we affirm the trial court's opinion in the entirety. Court is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honors.
Mr. Perichich, we wanted to talk to you further. If you have a
Okay,
moment.
what's good, man?
How are you doing, Mr. Perichich? Am I saying that correctly? Can you help me?
It's fine, whatever.
Listen, it's very important to me to be respectful and show that respect by Luca. Okay, all right. Well, you know, for the case of the opinion, you know, we have to write your last name. It's very formal and everything.
Mhm.
Have you ever met Rose, Mr. Luca?
Hello.
I don't think so.
All right, great. We wanted to introduce you to Rose. Why don't we go in the back?
Last time I went in the
You
back, I was
guys
locked in
need
a cell.
us
Oh, there's no
for
cells
this?
back here. There's no
Are we
cells
good
back
to
here.
go?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Yo, can I have one more question?
Yeah, absolutely. Once we come back
Stop,
here.
Gilgully. I'm gonna go check if my car is alright. I'm gonna go talk to the car.
Towards the railhead.
What's your question, Luca?
So when you said the road needs to be structurally, like, you know, the cutouts and something?
Yeah, so
Isn't
that's like
making
in
the-
front of the courthouse. We call that a cutout.
I get it. But doesn't that mean that if one side of the road is like twice as thick as the other one, that's literally the same thing?
From our perspective, probably not.
Okay.
And I understand what you're asking, but the issue is that it's not just that the road is wider. Like, and this is really an issue with the city design. I would recommend you take this up with the city planner. I have a lot of opinions about it myself. It's really about the legislature and how they wrote this law, and they specifically wanted it to have marked parking spaces. Now you can think that that's wrong and that they should fix it. I'm not necessarily going to say one way or the other whether or not you were safely parked, because that's not really what was before us today. It's possible that you were safely parked. I don't know enough about parking to have a strong opinion about that. But it was not a marked space, and that's really how the legislature came down on this issue.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want everyone to be held to the same standard. So I'm literally gonna call cops on cops parking illegally. Last time
I
was
think
told to
you
fuck
should.
off.
I think
Yeah,
you should.
last
You know,
time I
I've
was told
seen
to
the
fuck
same
off.
thing. No. I think you should. And I think that you know, if you were to take photos and file complaints against officers who are illegally parked, I think that would be just desserts, in my opinion. You know, the law should apply to everyone. That's what we're here for. I did want to ask you some more questions about talking to your car. I was hoping you would
Okay.
chat with us about that.
Sure, was good.
So I understand. You know,
Hey.
you said that everyone talks to their cars, and I understand that to some extent. But you said that your car speaks English.
Yeah, yours doesn't. Do you have it set to different language?
Well, mine doesn't really talk at all. I think Dr. Rose here had some questions about that. We're all very interested.
How bad of a relationship do you have in your car?
Well, I ride bikes for the most part at the moment. I'm saving up for a car personally.
You know, bikes are not living things, so you know they don't matter. So yeah, they will probably not talk to you.
Sure. All right. Dr. Rose, do you wanna ask Mr. Luca your questions?
Do you need us to step it away?
It's
Oh
probably
yeah, we're
better
happy to
done
step away.
Private, yeah.
Sure.
You can Go
Okay.
into the room.
Yeah,
here,
you can have
maybe,
the
just so we
conference
can-
room. You can have the conference room here. Let me make sure that's unlocked for you. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Interesting.
There's an officer staying behind in the lobby in case we need them.
Oh, perfect.
I'll tell Bradford.
Oh, great.
Oh yes, good call. That is not what I expected to see.
You like it?
Oh. I cannot see.
Do you like it?
Uh-huh.
We should wear that to court next time.
Ah,
Trying to find her outfit.
yes. Good call. Hold on.
I think I know where the top is.
Yes, I have the top safe. I just need to find it. this one cute. I remember this one, very cute.
It's this one, right?
Yes.
Oh, I could go blue.
This skirt is. It might be a shirt.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it is because. There we go. This one.
No, it's this one.
Which one is that?
351.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. You think these colors go together?
Oh, look at this one.
Oh.
Accessories.
I kind of like this.
Oh, shoes.
And just, pull your shirt a little so it hides your stomach,
Oh, yeah. Good call. Oh my god, there's too much.
Wait, what boots are those?
21.
I like these. I'll just wear these shoes. They're cute.
Oh my god, we look so cute.
I'm really surprised the dog. Where'd Bradford go?
I don't know.
Oh my god, that was quick. Oh my god. Oh my god, we're all matching.
Did he leave?
We felt
No,
inspired.
he's still there. I appreciate that I inspired you. No.
We have officers
Obviously-
outside if they're needed.
No, he's not a danger to himself or others. You know, I think there's only so much I can do here, I'll be honest. One of those, if someone don't want to help themselves, it's very hard to help them.
Okay. As long
But
as he's not a danger.
He is not a danger.
Oh, perfect.
Very good. So I guess he's good to go then.
Okay, I'll let him know.
I'll go let the officers know.
Where to find me?
Sure.
I'm Briquette Cooks.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you be safe, love.
Thank you.
Oh my god, we look so cute. Did you?
Can we get a photo together? The three of us?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go find Widow. Let me let you out. Oh, look,
Oh,
unlock.
I don't think it was luck. I was just replying to someone.
Oh, thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Luke. I really appreciate it. You got Mr. Evans here waiting for you. He wanted to talk to you.
Oh, why does everyone want to talk to
Oh.
me today?
We need a picture.
Okay, you be safe, love.
Yes, girl power. Let's
And
go.
put,
Yeah.
Oh my
put,
God,
put
you're all
Willow's
dressed
the
picture
same.
on the
How did that
fucking
happen?
courthouse.
You want to do it in front of the
Yeah,
light or
certainly.
the
Sure,
flag
sure,
or
sure.
something like that?
Oh yeah, where's the best light in here?
Maybe here?
We are immediately drawn to the light.
Oh my god.
She's
Wait,
probably in the
we-
middle. She's
what-
taller.
We should probably be facing the light.
Yeah, well, why don't we stand against the wall and then the light will hit our faces?
Okay. You can be in the front because you started the trend. No, wait, not that one.
All right, I'll hurry up. You good? Miss Clark?
No! Not yet. Okay, now I'm good.
All right, here we go. Oh, this is not. Hold on. 1 second. I'm gonna have to think about something.
I want to get closer.
You think I need to get closer?
No, you're good.
Yeah, I think you're good.
All right. Oh, well, stop. All right. Okay. Now everyone's gonna stop moving while I'm trying to take the picture. Okay, here we go. Oh, well up.
I'm positioning.
Are you ready?
It's very important. I'm ready.
Oh my god, this is
Okay.
so
All right. Here we go. Let's click 1 second. Let's make sure it's properly exposed.
Are you using like your tie camera or something?
Yeah, exactly. I'll use my phone camera if you want, but it's not as good.
A boat is perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, do both.
All right. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let's do a landscape. Oh,
Make
let's
sure you
not
get
do
our
that.
legs in the picture too.
How about?
Like,
How about-
our legs are cute.
Oh, like that. Okay. All right. Yeah, I can do that. Give me 1 second.
And our shoes.
I can't get your heads on your shoes in the same
Maybe
picture.
stand on the table.
Yeah, back up.
I don't think I can stand on that table.
Oh, I could put you on the table. Hold on. Let me help you up.
Oh my god. All right, I suppose. Okay.
Here, you reposition and then I'll
You guys
reposition.
are just standing next to Macklemore. It's very funny.
Well, don't put him in the picture.
You want me to get your feet in the pic? Okay, hold on. Let's do portrait mode. There we go. All right.
All my faith in you depends on this photo. Okay, no pressure.
Oh, gee, that is pressure. What are you talking about?
Listen, we are finding that your
there you go,
ability to
Willow.
adjudicate is strongly based off of your ability to take a picture. Very good picture.
I've put it in the appeal as well as send it directly to Willow. What do I think?
I think you should lay down. I don't like this angle.
Oh my fucking god. First you want me on the table and now you want me to lay down.
Lay on the
What
table.
hell? You guys are fucking insufferable, I swear to god.
What do you think, Rose? Are we being insufferable?
Absolutely not. If it's a photo worth taking, it's worth taking right.
Exactly.
Alright, well, I
Exactly.
can't get Macklemore out of the frame like this, just so you know.
That's all. I'll do it in post.
We'll just have to take his picture now.
Yeah.
Hold please what we call public works.
If you keep talking, I can't take a good photo. Your mouth's gonna be open.
I look
Alright, there
good
we
with my
go.
mouth open.
Jesus Christ.
Heyo.
Hack to her.
Alright, there's another one. There's another one.
You must send to me too for approval.
It's in the appeal. It's in the appeal.
Okay, let me look.
I'm telling you, my Thai camera is much better than my phone. If you want me to take one from my Thai camera.
Yeah, do your
Yes.
Thai camera. This was awful.
Alright. I don't know why my Thai camera is so much better, but it like demonstrably is.
Oh my god.
Oh, here, 1 second. Oh my god, well.
And I got bored.
Hold on, Thai camera's being weird.
You guys want to start a band?
Oh, we should.
I can't sing.
Me neither.
You
I
can
can
play
barely
guitar.
speak English.
I
Or
can bang a
tambourine.
drum.
Yeah, you can hit the
Alright,
drums.
what do you guys think of that one?
Oh, that one is pretty good.
Yeah, I told you my Thai camera's better.
Oh, can someone send it to me?
No.
Wow.
I'm
Toxic.
sure they
Confiscate.
will. I'm sure they will. I just want to make sure we're not taking any more pictures. We good?
I think so.
We need Rose's
Alright, good.
approval.
Oh, let me check. Oh, so good.
Alright, good, good. Very good. Did someone need food? Sonny, do you need food?
Yes.
That was the first one he took.
Oh, they're both good, but the second one is definitely better. Oh, yeah, that high angle is not the one.
No. Thank you,
We don't know her. Alrighty, I'm gonna get out of here, y'all, but I appreciate you for all you do.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks,
How's a
thank
nice
you.
day? Oh, yeah. What? So, did I know that you can't give us like a lot of details, but is the car situation okay? You understand we were concerned. He said he was speaking. His
I
car was talking to
also-
him.
Concerned, but he is not a danger to himself or others, from what I can ascertain.
All right. Well,
And
you
beyond
know,
that, if they don't want to help themselves, we can't really help them.
that's fair. We just wanted to make sure we weren't hearing that wrongly, I guess.
He just texted
Yeah.
me. He says, I just want you to know I'm calling cops on cops who are illegally parked.
Yeah, I told him he should.
So I said, that's a do it.
Surely if their lights are on, though, that's different. I don't know. What do I know?
No,
Okay.
I mean,
No, if their lights are
the
on
law
and they're in
doesn't
an
say
active
so.
situation.
Yeah, but like I see them like hiding on the side of the road or whatever, like they're radaring people or whatever, and they're illegally parked. Fuck them.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, well, I'm out of here.
Oh,
Stay safe.
Mr. Gilgully tweeted out, "What color ticket book should I buy?"
Oh, pink.
Uh,
Okay, stay safe.
I can't see though him being charged with improper use of 911.
It probably that's what happened.
Did you know there's no charge for improper use of 311?
Perfect. He probably will not know to call 311.
We'll find out. We'll find out. All right. I think we all have places to be. I hope
He said
everyone
he
has a
got
lovely rest
told
of
to
their day.
F off last time by a higher up. I said, in that case, just bring it to the courts and sue.
Beautiful. All right. You guys have a lovely day. I'm gonna go back to the
No, you have to stay with us
office.
the whole day.
No. I love you. Bye.
Bye. Sonny, I got really
Yes?
sad.
Why?
Because my friends were all like on me before court. Like some of them are my friends in the courtroom. And they just kept saying over and over again, like how they're disappointed in me for getting married, how I shouldn't have done it. And then they repeated over and over again, you're going to get divorced. It's inevitable. You're getting divorced. Like,
Well, then they are not very good friends.
that's what I said. And I got mad at them. I said, you guys are not being good friends. And I walked away.
Mm.
How did you go with that when people were not happy with you marrying Liam? Because you said your friends got mad at you too, right?
Yeah, they tried to murder me.
Mine are legal, so I don't think they'll try to murder me, but it's just kind of annoying that like they're calling themselves your friend and at the same time they're basically impending doom upon
I would tell
know.
them what you need from them as your friend. I need you to be supportive.
I did tell them that. And they said I am.
Let them
being
know that you
supportive.
value their opinion. You take it into consideration. But at the same time, need to be supportive. It is the decision you made, the decision you are going to keep. And if you need them for the support in the future, you will let them know. It is good to be a friend to call somebody out. They have done so, and you have considered, but you are happy with your decision. It is part of being a friend to support the decisions of other people and to be there for in case needing them. I don't know. Mm.
Okay, I told them. Yeah, I'll send you what I told them.
Oh my god.
What do you think of that?
Let me see. I think that was well stated. Perfect. Also, I wanted to address in the court hearing the appellate, Mr. Luca, keep calling you widow.
Yeah, he did.
I should have spoke it up.
I should have too. I don't pay enough attention to like the names and addressing in courts as I should. Like, well, you noticed with my whole Donald the state.
I almost did that the other day in my pre-trial.
It's so easy.
I kept calling him Defense, and then I wanted to be like, at least I didn't call you Donald.
I tried to be professional here, and I kept calling him Mr. Luca.
Mr. Harvey. Well, I think I have to go get ready for Dungeons and Dragons. It's in a few hours. I have some things to take care of. Oh my god, we look so cute. I am keeping this outfit.
I know, I'm giving this to you. That's okay. You have fun. I'm probably gonna go bed and yeah, or maybe I go play some Fortnite.
Have fun.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Thank you for coming to this hearing. Have the sunny day and the above average night. Bye. I have to go.